But on top of all these experiences you've had, you also had a suicide attempt.
I did, yeah.
And that's interesting because I asked you what the darkest place you've been in was, and that wasn't it for you. So when was your suicide attempt?
Another question I've never been asked about. So way to be brave. Um, this was like years later. After this was actually only 3-ish years ago. Um, and I had just come. Actually, I had just done my first national tour. I had done like 4 months of traveling. I was probably at the best place. I was cancer free. I was like at the best place of my life.
Yeah.
And I think I had been dealing with so much trauma, like all of this stuff when I was young. And then as soon as got out of that, I had cancer. As soon as I got out of that, cancer again. This was before the car wreck, obviously. So it was just trauma after trauma after trauma. And I never had time to deal with any of those things. And so at that moment, there was no more trauma happening. And so my body, my mental health decided, okay, now's the time that we're going to dig up, 20, however many years of trauma and deal with it all right now. And because I finally had the kind of space for it, there was no current trauma happening. So yeah, it was just completely overwhelming. And I went into like, an absolutely insane, overwhelming taking depression. And it was really awful. I was in therapy at that time. I tried antidepressants. I didn't like them. I went off of them. I was with a psychiatrist, a therapist. And yeah, it was not easy. And which I also think says a lot about people that come off happy or people that have great things happening in their life. You can be just as depressed or mentally unwell in those moments.
I mean, look how many celebrities we've lost to depression that you
Exactly.
would never think,
Check
right?
on your happy friends. Yeah. But for me, it was more that I didn't have anyone to go to. And I felt like they see me, Ariana's a survivor. So she's going to be fine all the time. So if I call and say, hey, I'm going through really bad depression, I might not be physically safe right now. They're like, it's Ariana. She'll be fine. She's fine. She's a survivor. So they don't necessarily take you seriously, or they think that they minimize what you're going through in your brain because you've overcome so much. So like, she's the girl that gets over everything, which
That's a
is
lonely
not at
place
any
to
fault.
be.
Yeah, not a fault of their own. It's just that's
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah. That's hard
yeah.
when you're known
So
as the strong one.
which is why I ended up going into trauma coaching so that I can be that person for other people.
I want to
Mm-hmm.
know from somebody who's been through all of these experiences, okay, and works in the industry you work in, right? So, like, anytime you work in like media or sing as an artist, you have to overcome odds, right? This
Yeah.
is like the field you work in, plus cancer surviving, overcoming those odds. So, what is your big piece of advice to somebody about that? What keeps pushing
Mm.
you to overcome the odds?
Wow. Another great question. I wow. Like I said, allowing yourself to have those moments is really important in getting over them. I use my traumatic moments to push me. And I think now I definitely go to not necessarily the darkest moment, but the kind of scariest moment, which I don't actually remember, but just hearing about it, about being in underneath that car space, and how the guy was like, yeah, you might not have been breathing, you weren't breathing when we pulled you out. If I can survive that without even being aware, without even trying anything, I couldn't even breathe, and I had a broken neck and a broken brain stem, and I lived that, this will be fine. I'll be fine. And I have to bring myself into that perspective a lot because it's so easy to forget. Like, it's so easy when you're in that moment and like in recovery to be like, oh yeah, well, I can overcome anything. But then as soon as you start being faced again with like these problems, like you get back into the normal world and it's
When you
like,
get
oh yeah,
comfortable.
right, exactly. It's like work, finances, whatever. Like even this morning, I was stressing out about this job thing, and I was like, I don't know how to, what am I gonna do, and all this stuff. And then I'm like, oh, like I was stuck under the steering wheel with my head broken off. Like, I'll probably be fine. I can figure it out. So like, just reminding yourself of that lowest moment and that you got through it. People say that to me all the time. Like, aren't you so scared of the future? Like, you must be cursed. You've been through all this stuff. And I say, like, aren't you scared of some, what the next big thing is going to be? I said, no, because I've survived everything I've been through, which means that I can survive those things. So you have to remind yourself more than you remind other people.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I wouldn't say that you're unlucky at all. I think you have incredible luck. Like,
That's
incredible luck. Yeah.